Okay, everyone, today we are going to talk about creating buying power and look at really why that matters and how to build that as well. Now, some of you might think, what is buying power? Hopefully we'll get through that today and explain it quite in depth. But do you know, when I speak to, I'll refer back to property investment quite a lot through this, but when I speak to a lot of investors and people who are starting out, and potentially people that have been at it for years as well, some of them don't really realise the buying power they already have or the buying power that they could obtain. Do you know? So it's quite good to have those conversations because people maybe sometimes are reluctant to release what they've got tied up in their investments already to reinvest. Maybe a wee bit of fear and things in there as well. And some of them are unaware of what they could achieve in terms of borrowing and things to reinvest. Or sometimes they're a bit scared of doing that as well. So hopefully we'll try and cover much of that today.
I personally think that buying power has a lot to do with reputation.
Okay, yeah. If you've got good relationships with, say,
I think reputation's everything, right? Because your word is your bond, and you better be good at it. Because it's like when you say, "Yeah, that's the deal, we're getting it done," more or less a handshake. That person that you're buying from knows your reputation and knows you'll follow through with it, or that estate agent that you're going with and buying it through knows that as well, and they're able to convince the seller that you've got that buying power, and it's a no-brainer for them.
And you see, obviously, that reputation comes with, experience and being able to follow through on deals through the years and build up that reputation as being reliable.
I think it's experience, and also it's a lot to do with. It's a lot to do with. Are you a strong negotiator? And what I mean by that, in terms of a strong negotiator, is what you say your final word with the person, and do they understand that is the final word? For example, the amount of properties I've offered on over the years, we're talking about hundreds, possibly in 1,000, that I've offered on, that I've walked away over £500.
And why is that?
Because I knew if they wanted that more money out of me, every single time if I caved in, £500 was little, but there was bigger ones like thousands. But I knew if I didn't stand my ground, that estate agent or that person selling to me at that point in time would be able to walk all over me the next time that an opportunity came along, because they knew I would just cave.
Yeah, because you've not stuck to you've obviously done your figures, stuck to the numbers, and
happens every time. And also, if other people are up against you to buy a property or do whatever deal it is, they know you are the solid bet, and the other people, they don't know that well.
And they could be a bit flaky and unreliable.
It is definitely. It's easy. It's easy for everybody to say, "I've got the money." Hey, what makes you unique? Because everybody's got the money if that's the case. So what makes you actually unique in terms of what you're doing, in terms of how you're negotiating, in terms of what you're offering? That's the sort of buying power you want to have. So that's an intangible when you think about it, and that is unique to you as a person, as an investor. There's never a time ever I've ever, in the 30 years that I've done business, backed out a property sale. Ever. Even though I found out later on it was going to cost me £5,000 to fix something.
If you've committed, you follow through it.
Yes, and I could have backed out, and I could have renegotiated, but I knew there was money in it, and I expected that anyway, and it was a real good deal anyway. So I wasn't going to threaten it. People find that out. They usually come back and say, "Well, I'll give you a few thousand off," and it's like that. Probably, I think that has happened in the past, but I've not pushed for it. I've just said, "Look, this has come up when we've had somebody in, and it's like." It's going to cost that to fix it. What's your thoughts? See how I did that? What's your thoughts?
And let them
to the seller. Yeah, because the seller will cave straight away. they'll not go, oh well, I'm no, you know, I'm still wanting my price for it. It's like they never knew that was there. So you typically find that the seller will cave straight away and give you that amount off, irrespective. You don't really need to ask for it. It's a real good way of doing it.
Yeah, it's always good to put it, but yeah, like you say, put the question back. And I think as well, when you're trying to do negotiating things as well, like you say, it's very important not to leave things too open-ended. If you know what I mean, when you're trying to negotiate and agree on a deal, if you leave it
Yeah, that's a
open-ended,
good one.
you
Yeah,
leave it there.
I've offered before, and I've lowballed it. This was in the early days. I lowballed it, and people would come back to me in about 3 or 4 days' time after saying no. Come back to me in 3 or 4 days' time, say, is that offer on the table? I say, yeah, an offer is on the table, but it's now £1,000 less.
Mm-hmm.
Or what I've done as well is there's an offer on the table. If you don't accept it by then, my next offer's going down the way.
Yeah.
And I've left it at that. So again, it's establishing that sort of thing about, yeah, this guy's going to do what he says, and it gives that impression. So the estate agent will go to their seller and say, this guy's the real deal. He will definitely do that. So if you're not going to accept it by 5 o'clock, if you do want to accept his offer, it will drop in price.
Yeah.
And that was basically to get sort of some closure. It's like I've got a team of people just waiting to go. So it's like, you know, I just want to know. Just tell me, or I'll just go and buy something else.
Yeah.
It's
And
a numbers game.
do you know, and like we just said there, obviously your position, Jim, where you've built that reputation of being somebody that is true to their word, follow throughs on what they agree on, and like you say, you've got a team of people waiting, whether it's, you know, it's your lender and your and things all ready to go when you secure on a deal. Now, people tuning in might think, but I don't have all that. I'm just beginning, and so they might think, so how do I? Where do I start? Do you know? And I think it's being consistent and, like you say, being true to your word and sticking to, like, if you set up your numbers for buying something, stick to that and don't be wavered and pushed by estate agents and things, because then you'll lose that reputation that you're trying to build, or you won't even be able to establish it in the first place.
So where do you start? If you're just starting out, I think it's being honest. This is a classic example about when we used to talk about dream building. Now we were stony broke at the time, and when my mentor used to talk to me, he goes, "Jim, you need to go out and do some dream building. Goes around some high class garages that are selling really good cars like Ferraris, Aston Martins, and stuff like that. Go and have a look at them, and just kind of build your dream, build your ambitions, and get a feel for what it would be like and all the rest of it." But he says, don't go in and give the impression that you're maybe going to buy something. Be upfront with the people in there, the salespeople. Just say to them, look, I'm just browsing. There's no way I'm going to be able to afford these at this point in time, but it is something I'd love to have in the future. So if you could deal with somebody else. I just want to look, that's all.
Yeah.
And that's honest and upfront, so you don't waste it. Because the last thing you want to do is waste somebody's time. It's the same with houses.
Make out like you're going to make a purchase, yeah.
It's the same with the just starting out. It's like, don't go to see loads and loads of properties knowing full well that you can't actually afford to buy them yet. You have to be upfront with the estate agent.
Yeah.
You have to be upfront with the estate agent, because what will happen is the estate agent will go, I am not wasting my time with that person ever again. So when you do come up with the right deal and you do have the money behind you, then you're almost on the back foot trying to convince them that you could actually do that deal. I've experienced it from both sides. I've experienced it as a buyer, but I've also experienced it as an estate agent and had people like that. And it's like, oh my God, no, another one. Off a new course, and they've been told to come and visit every estate agent and go to look at many houses and all the rest of it. It's like, I've had enough of that. So we would just qualify people and filter them out, unfortunately, because they wouldn't be upfront with you in the first place. They should sit down and say, this is my this for anybody that's new starting out. Speak to the estate agent, go in, visit them, speak to them, be honest and upfront with them, and say, look, you are considering buy to let, or you're looking to invest in buy to let. You're not in a position to do anything right now, but you were just wanting to get a feel for what type of properties are currently on the market that they would recommend, and what sort of rental levels would they go for. So when the time does come, you kind of know what you're talking about, rather than actually having to fumble about in the dark and rush about at last minute and do things. A lot of estate agents then will give you a lot of time for that reason, because it's like you're being honest with them, and they now know that they're doing you a favor. Rather
it's
than
kind of like laying the groundwork with them. Like, look, this is my plan. This is where I'm going to be, and when I get to that point, I will be looking for property.
Of course, absolutely. So that's how to start out with investing completely, and it's the same way investing in stocks and shares. It's the same way investing in possibly having a pension fund and all the rest of it. If you're not in a position to do that, you can still be upfront with people and the right people and the professionals, and speak to them and say you're not in a position to do it, but you would kind of if they could give you a real good feel for it. It's like I get people approaching me saying, I'm thinking about getting involved in a state agency. Is there anything? And the first thing I say is, like, well, I tell you what, do my 60-second video, anything you want, and tell me all about, what's your ambitions and what you would want, or anything you want to do. 60 seconds, send me a video, and we'll have a wee chat after that.
How many people send you?
Very few. In the last year, two, quite a lot. Because it's like, if you're not gonna do that, there's no way you're ever going to be in a state agent, more than likely. Because there's nothing to push you. You've obviously not got a dream. Because if you did have that dream and you had that ambition and you had that burning desire within you, then you would go and do it irrespective.
You would do something.
Just do what you need to be told. And that tells me everything about the person. It's like you're not prepared to do that. So you like the idea of being an estate agent, but you're kind of not in the right education and mindset of being an estate agent.
Or probably not at that point of readiness, because
you
just clearly demonstrated straight off without doing that. With not
you can
doing
get really nice people, salt of the earth, absolutely fantastic, but they're just no geared up for sales. Maybe an administrator, absolutely. Sales, nah.
Sales is not for everyone. Definitely not.
No, or we'd all be salesmen, and or salespeople, and we'd all be making a fortune if that's the case. But we're all in the same industry, but some excel and some don't excel, and some just quit.
And it's not a bad thing, because people that are geared up and do sales, but they can't do what they're doing without the people that are doing the admin and all the things. So everyone has their place, but you just need to realize where you fit in it.
Yeah, and if you acknowledge that and you're okay with that, and you feel comfortable with that, then that's absolutely great. You'll fit in perfectly to the right organisation out of what they want. And again, it's all the thing about being upfront. Even in any job, being upfront with people. When do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Or wanting your job? It's like, you're not getting that job then, aren't you? Or some people might go, that's fantastic, because I'm wanting to go and do something else, and you could take my job, but you'll have to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the other person's perspective from that point of view. We're going down a road which is away from here a bit, but it is a case of self-promotion, isn't it? And it is, but it is understanding and creating that buying power, and how to build it, why it matters, for everything and anything. Selling yourself every single day when you go to work that you're capable of doing that job and getting paid for it.
Yeah,
that's the thing. See the amount of people that are mobile phones on their own personal mobile phones when they're actually meant to be working at work on someone else's time that they're paying for. I see it all the time. It's ridiculous.
You see it everywhere in businesses and shops and things, all the time.
Public servants as well. You see it. They're all standing at the side of the road, fiddling on their phones. And it's like, this is unbelievable. It's like somebody is paying this person to go and do stuff in their own time, when they're meant to be actually giving their time to what they're doing. That's another story, isn't it?
I know.
But everybody sees that. This is the whole thing about. I was actually talking about that. This is about public spending and all the rest of it, and how the budgets. We know the budget's coming up, and budgets are coming up every single year. But the one thing that some of the parties fail to do is actually recognise the fact that there is huge efficiency to be made in the public sector. as well as actually to generate a thriving economy, and also an enterprising economy, in order to generate revenue, in order to generate taxes and get more taxes in. That's it.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you talk about, and I'll bring us back to the topic in a minute. I just wanted to, do you know, mobile phones have really, they've put that in place in every workplace, where it's like you've got that portal basically that takes you completely away from what you should be doing and what you're paid to be doing, and it's in your hand all the time, and it's such a difficult thing to police, or or keep an eye on. Yeah, that is something that I see across the board. But anyway, yeah, back to, the buying power, and understanding that buying power. And I think coming back to building it in the beginning. Now, I did say it's not all about money as in cash that you've got. When you've got buying power, you could use lending and things. But I think for most cases, that comes a wee bit later on, once you've established yourself. In the beginning, a lot of people do start out with building this cash pot. And I know, Jim, back in the early days, that's what you done. Like you say, in the beginning, Stony broke, built up this pot. And then once you start getting that momentum, you then use lending from the banks and things to leverage your position. But building that initial cash pot and accumulating that cash is how most people start out. And property investing, and like you say, stocks and whatever people choose to do. You really need to be disciplined in order to do that in the first instance.
Yeah, you have to be. Probably when I started out, I go back to that and think, yeah, okay, I was probably in negative equity, not in terms of just in net negative, in terms of asset worth or net worth. Not too bad though, because I realised with studying accountancy at an early time, and then also getting involved with my mentors, that this was a slippery slope, constantly getting in huge amounts of debt. So we made sure we were the word is frugal with our money and look after it. But I understood the complete concept of not living beyond your means. So in other words, make sure you're spending less than you're bringing in. So I understood that completely. And that with little of what I've got and what we'd accumulated over the years, I was able to then go, wait a minute, I've actually got an endowment that I could actually use as collateral for 100% funding with the Bank of Scotland. And that's what they did. Because they were going, well, what collateral you got? I went, I've got a couple of endowments. And they're not attached to the properties anymore, because it was all the endowment mortgages. It says versatile investment plan, which we took out as well. And it amounted to, I don't know, maybe about 12 grand or something like that. And I went, I could put that down. And at that time, they were going, well, we want a 20% deposit. And it's like, well, okay, what does that give me then? Well, about 80,000 in lending. Brilliant.
Which at that time was really, well, in any terms.
Because at that time, I was buying property in the repossession market for about £15,000. So I managed to buy probably about 3 or 4 units at that time. But after testing the model and proving the model in the first instance with the first property we ever got. So after that, we had to go for further lending, because there was no such thing as a buy-to-let mortgage. It never existed.
Yeah.
So that's how we did everything in the very beginning, term loans. So that's why it was always important to make sure that cash flow was king. We had cash flow all the time, and we had a really good cash flow. And this is where my model came for a 25% return, because I knew if I get a 25% return on investment, then I'll more than likely have a huge amount of cash flow. And I always made sure at that point in time, remember, a property was £15,000, or a 2-bedroom flat, 1-bedroom flat where I was buying. And so I made sure I cleared £250 in cash every single month after the mortgage is paid. So if I was able to do that, I knew I had a lot of leeway.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that's your numbers that you made, and you stuck to them. It didn't deviate.
Yeah. So I suppose when you think about creating buying power, it was also about creating and convincing the people that were funding me that I could do the job by just buying one property and proving that model.
Yeah.
And then showing them that as a demonstration about, this is the model I follow. This is it right here, laid bare. This is what I did here. This is what I did there. This is what I did there. And this is what I needed to do to the property. And this is the demand for this type of property. And then the bank went, yeah, okay, we can't argue with that. You've just proved it. And I says, I want to buy another one, and I want to buy that one. 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 And I just started going mental with it.
And that back in the early days when you're demonstrating this model, demonstrated it works to the banks, not only paved the way, kind of created the buy to let product.
Yeah, it did, because then they realised at the time, it's like, wait a minute, this is a growing emerging market. There's something in this. And I started to buy, and then I do remember I used to walk in and I'd have business plans all written up. And I mean a business plan in terms of accounts about, that's how many I'm going to buy, that's the rent, that's it. So everything everybody does today, I did that all in the very beginning. But that wasn't something that anybody told you to do. That was just something I knew you should do, because it's like I wanted to make sure I had the answer before I walked in the door, and they couldn't say no, and they didn't.
When you've got the numbers in front of you and they work, it's quite hard to challenge that.
This is what a lot of would-be property investors forget about. I've got no money and I don't have it. And then people go, well, go to your friends and your family and all the rest of it and ask them for money. They go, well, they're the people that know I'm the town drunk or whatever it was, because I was always getting steamboat at the local disco and getting pushed up the high street in a trolley in the middle of the night. And they're the type of people that actually were doing it with me. So I don't have any credibility with them. But you'll find somebody you've got credibility with, but then you have to produce. It's not a case of just asking them. It's like you put a prospectus together, some sort of thing, some sort of model about this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to, this is the numbers. This is how I'll get it. This is where I'll buy it. And it's not a lot. It's maybe 4 or 5 pages. And you just give it to that person and say, look, I know you might be an avid investor, you might consider investing. So I want to give you this, just a wee plan I've got about how you could maybe get involved with me and we could joint venture together. A lot of them as well, actually, in the very beginning, just want finance out of people because they want to keep the deal for themselves and just pay them the finance. That's it. And then they want the upside, all the upside, and they don't want to share anything at all except treat that person as a bank. If you've got nothing, that is not the way to start out. The way to start out is get a joint venture partner who will finance the whole deal and come in and also get the upside on the capital appreciation as well. Because once you've proved that, you can take that model to someone else and actually end up convincing them just to do the finance with you.
Yeah.
See what I mean? So you at least get somebody to believe in you by doing it like that, because 50% of something's better than 100% of nothing.
Yeah.
And then the next time it could be, well, 75% of something's better than 100% of nothing. And the next time it could be 80% better, than 100% of nothing. So once you get a track record, then you get a lot more people flocking towards you. You get a lot more people wanting to invest in you. And invest in you because they now know through their friends that they're getting a return on investment and you're good for what you're saying. Now, this could be anything from 1 to 5 years or longer.
I was just going to say, what's jumped out to me there is that this is something that takes time and building on your expertise and to be able to establish yourself like that.
And the difficulty is that most property investors or would be starting out get so excited they go, I want to do everything now and I want to do it so quick. And it's like, God, it's like, you've got time on your side. It doesn't need to be done because you're going to have these properties maybe for about 10, 20, 30 years. So what does it matter if you don't get it done in 30 days? That's the key. It's establishing that reputation first. Then once you've got a reputation with a couple of people who are credible, then they'll start telling everybody else when they have restaurant, when they have lunch together and their nights out together, they'll be, what are you doing? It's like, oh, I'm investing in this. So it's with Jim, and it's like he's giving me a return on investment. God, I'm getting about 10% on my money I'm putting in. And you go, what? 10%? He says, yeah, I get it every single month. It's like it's come hell or high water. I just get it all the time, and it's a 5-year fixed rate deal. And it's like after the 5 years, I get all my money back, my principal sum, and it's secured against the property.
And you can't put a price on, positive word of mouth and building a reputation that way through in a local area through people talking, basically. positively about you.
Definitely, you can't put a price on that. It is immeasurable. It is also infinite in terms of your potential return. This is why if I was going to do this and I was going to put something out there and say, look, this is what I want to do, I've got every belief I would have a lot of people lined up wanting to invest.
Yeah, if you were to create like some sort of fund and say, right, who's what to join in?
I would want to. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I have every belief that would be the case. I've got a track record that, you know, it's for anybody to say I've not got a track record that delusional. Where have you been?
I think there's a lot of,
but we still get people out there saying that. You still get people out there saying that.
But then you would need to look at their position and see why they're saying that.
You do bore about that. You've always got people sitting in the cheap seats criticising while you fight it out in the arena.
Yeah.
It's always the case. You don't bother about these people. That's what a ban and delete button on Facebook's for.
I think, I mean, you come back to, do you know, when we talk about using like debt and lending and things to leverage your position, a lot of people still shy away from it. And I don't know whether it's a mixture of people being uneducated to how it works, do you know, not having the knowledge about how to use it strategically and properly to leverage your position. A lot of people still have, you know, we spoke about this before, people that keep buying outright and have no mortgages and do their buy-to-let portfolio like that, and they've got so much capital tied up that they could be using to further leverage their position, but they kind of shy away from it.
I wonder if I could show this. Everybody knows about levers, right?
Yep.
This is like finance. See, you're trying to lift an object, and then you're lifting your object, and you've got, this is the pole you've got to lift, and you're away down here trying to lift at that level. See there, with you know, doing it like that. And I tell you what, that's no easy trying to do it like that. Whereas if you go to the end of here and do it from the end, it's so easy to lift it from the end. We all know that trick. I mean, that's levers, that's leverage, and that's effectively what you're doing with a bank, or with another person's money, in terms of lending. So what you're doing is, instead of actually trying to lift something on a lever from a short distance, that's basically the cash option, isn't it? You buy it for cash, but then you would start using the bank's money, you're leveraging it a lot more. Therefore, you're lifting it. You'll lift a heavier weight. You'll accumulate a bigger asset if that's the case. If you've got 100, this is what I used to say years and years ago, and I used to teach this all the time to people. They used to sit there and say to me, oh, I would love to be a millionaire. And I says, well, I could probably guarantee you could be a millionaire within 10 years at that time. This was pre-2006, pre the crash. Yeah. Says, I'll probably guarantee you'll be a millionaire by then. You got 100,000 in the bank? Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. I could show you how to buy 10 properties at 100,000 each with £100,000 in money, hold on to them for 10 years, service the debt with the rent that you're getting in and the repairs and improvements, right? And then after 10 years, they'll double in value because they were at that point in time. Yeah. And then you'll be a millionaire out of £100,000. You know what I got from people?
That'll never happen.
That'll never work. I did it. Crickets. Silence.
Yeah. I mean, you're not the only one.
Silencing your critics.
Yeah. And the only people that really, I think, take that seriously as people that are on that journey and seeing the success or have already done it as well. It's quite hard to get people to relate to that, because they think, do you know, to be a millionaire, how could you do that so easily or so quickly?
I found it quite exhilarating this morning. I saw a post by Ben. Now, Ben had actually been saying about the fact that when he started out, what he did, and I says, and about financial freedom and all the rest of it, and he said how difficult it was for him to understand, and he had to change tribes. He had to find new people who actually thought like him in order to elevate his position, in order to help him get better, improving what he does. Whereas the existing people he was in about, they were all just pulling him down all the time. And I says, I kind of get that. And then this is what I wrote. I struggled to retire in my 30s. Not because of money, but because I couldn't understand how it was possible at that point in time for me to retire financially free in my 30s.
Would it feel a bit alien to you because it's not
That
what
is
normal
weird.
society
Honestly,
expects?
Richard, I have never thought about that before. I retired in my 30s financially free. That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me 3 years to come to terms with the fact that I could retire.
Mm-hmm.
When I looked at my numbers and I looked at my worth, and I thought I could retire. But I sat in my job for 3 years completely in fear of the fact if I retire and this all goes wrong, what's it going to leave me? And it's like, how could it go wrong? You've got £1 million in assets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you've got 6 times your income coming in that you earn in your job, and you're part-time.
And when you say it like that, it sounds like a no-brainer.
Aye, but at that, honestly, I just couldn't understand that was possible. I'd never met anybody in my life like that. I mean, Bernie D'Souza did it at 25, and I did meet Bernie, and he was one of my mentors, and that's fine. But I never knew in property anybody doing that, and I never had anybody close to me at that time because Bernie was no longer in the picture. My mentors had gone now by then. You know, they'd started me out, they got me off, and 3 or 4 years, 5 years of being mentored by them, and still continuing to mentor myself and find other mentors like Tony Robbins and Keith Cunningham, all these different people, Kevin Green, Secret Millionaire, all these different people who I started out with. I just couldn't come to terms with the fact that was entirely possible. And it took me 3 years, to the point where I was like, I can't stand sitting here anymore. It's like, my God, I need to go, because this is crazy. I am sitting here working in a job which is costing me money now.
Yeah. And it's
And
not that you didn't want to
that was
work.
as a financial controller.
I was just going to say, it's not that you didn't want to work. It's that because even when you left and retired, you still set up your own business and done things, as something that you wanted to do and create enjoyment. I mean,
my time was completely consumed by my job that I worked for, because that's what was expected of you. Fine with that. I rose to the ranks because of my mentors, from trainee accountant to financial director within a meteoric time before I was 30. And I think I started studying when I was 23, 24. So probably about 5 years from accountant, from a trainee to, an industry to financial director within about 5 years. And then to go to jump from there to being financially free within a short period of time as well, and what people would term in terms of what people would say today as well. So these are things that I used as leverage as well. I mean, that's leverage. That's track record as well. You've got a successful track record in your business. You've got a successful track record in your investments. You've got a successful track record with your employer. Therefore, it rubs off on everything all the way around you. And I was told that at the time by my mentors, that how you do anything is how you do everything, or how you do everything is how you do anything.
Yeah.
And if you don't do something over here, I can guarantee you're not going to do something over there. It's going to cross over, because that's habits and discipline and consistency. And you can't just switch it off and switch it on in different areas of your life. It is just you. This is why everybody used to say, "Oh my God, it's like, I can't believe you're so successful at this and at that and at this and about." It's just me.
Yeah, just
me.
stuck to what I wanted to do.
And I had no idea that no one else was like that. I just thought everybody was like that.
But I'm sure you quickly found out that they weren't.
I didn't. I never went looking for it. I never went looking for that. I just realized that, I was really good at this, and I was like, I had tunnel vision. Completely. Just like tunnel vision for everything. Just kept going and kept. It's kind of like a mole digging a tunnel under the ground, just constantly just digging, throwing the dirt up, 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 and then pop their head up one day and go, actually, I could retire from my job.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, did you pop your head up at some point and think, why is everybody else not doing this?
Yeah, well, my immediate boss, I actually taught him how to do it as well, and he made a fortune.
Yeah.
He's not in property investment anymore, but he bought about 8 properties, and when he sold just before the crash, it's like he made a killing. So he made a lot of money.
But it's interesting you talk about sold, because that's what I was going to come on to next. And I wanted to talk about your portfolio and things, and how you could possibly use parts of your portfolio to, against lending to leverage your position, or possibly, and I know this is something you're a big fan of, but parts of your portfolio that are maybe underperforming to sell off and then use that into something that's better. I know a few years ago you did sell off some things and then you regret it now.
Yeah, here we go. So the selling off your part of your portfolio is underperforming. I just don't get it with some people. It's like, I'm selling that off. I only sold off because I was at a Warren Buffett strategy. It was like, yeah, that's a good price for that property. I need to do other things as well and invest somewhere else, or I need to help Tony with our first house.
Yeah.
And at that time I thought, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Just sell them off, because I'll make a bit of money on it. And it was a wee time when I was thinking, oh, I'm just going to get out of this because I've kind of had enough. And then I slapped myself over the face and I thought, what are you doing, Tim? So I never ever sold off assets because they were underperforming, and I wanted to invest. I wanted to free capital to invest in higher yielding properties, because I just saw it as a principle that by the time you sell off and acquire again, and the entry and exit costs, or the exit and entry costs of doing that, it's like you're going to take at least about 5 or 6 years to recoup that money. So you're stuck. Well, an asset, it maybe performs well, but you're going to take 5 or 6 years to recoup that money. Whereas if you're stuck with the existing asset, maybe tarted it up a bit, or made it better, or improved it, and increased the rent, or got a better quality tenant, then you would be fine. So this underperforming assets thing, I don't get. I think it's just a lot of shite. Honestly, I think it's just people make that up to make themselves look great at what they're doing. Because I kind of think in the first place, if you bought that, it's like, you obviously show you're not really good at this. The very fact that you bought an underperforming asset.
If people have got the strategy where they want to buy property and 10, 20 years, and then their ultimate strategy is then to sell it off at a good price, then that's fine.
Well, look at what I did with underperforming assets of someone else.
Yeah, I know.
I bought them, all of them. And I just put my return in the now. In the first year, I made 500,000.
And I mean, it's not to say there's a lot of work went into them, but
my loss. I made 500,000 capital appreciation, but my loss on my accounts is £112,000.
That's not too bad considering what's been put in.
I'm 400 grand up. I don't care.
Definitely.
A deferred capital gain, though, because when you think about deferred capital gain, you've got 500,000, and then you multiply by 0.25 because you've got so you're really 500 minus 125, which is the capital gain. So you're 375 up. You've spent 112 to do it, so you're actually 263,000 up in 1 year.
A year, yeah.
I'm all right with that.
And that'll only compound over the years.
Yes. That'll continue, because I'm no getting rid of that. So that'll compound and go up and up and up, and the rent will go up and up and up, and the investment will go up and up and up, and they're good buying, they're good properties because they're easy to exit from. They're in terms of what other people class them as, they would probably be low value to them. I mean, anything from 80 to 100,000, maybe a wee bit more. So 80,000 to 120,000, that's where they are in terms of their price range. And it's like, these are easy to get rid of if you need to get rid of for first-time buyers and even other investors. And they will actually sell very, very well because you've looked after them, invested a lot of money into them as well.
Yeah, and these types of properties are performing really well.
So underperforming assets, I've never understood that, why people would sell them off, because why did you buy them in the first place? You obviously don't know what you're doing. Didn't do your sums properly, didn't do your research properly. What does that tell you about your track record that we're just talking about? Is that really building a reputation? Absolutely not.
No.
If you're selling, by the way, an underperforming asset, contact me first.
Do you ever use parts of your portfolio to help fund and purchase like other parts to build your portfolio? Do you know?
Of course you would. Of course you would. Okay, so yes, I do. Absolutely. Why would you not use them as leverage? But what I would say is, if you use them like that, then you have to make sure you understand you could have a huge deferred capital gain And if you did try to exit quite quickly, you won't be able to exit because the money you would get and the tax you'd have to pay on the gain and the debt you have to pay off doesn't match. In other words, you might not have enough money to pay the mortgage off if you have to sell quickly. And it leaves you in a really vulnerable position doing that. So you have to make sure your numbers are right before you do anything like that. So you don't tie yourself into this situation, because it could wipe you out completely.
And I've seen it happen. We've seen it happen to several
I saw it in
people.
the credit crunch. I knew somebody that got 300 properties taken off them. Absolutely mental. 300 properties. Because the person had deliberately said, I'm going to live on 1% of my value, my portfolio every year. I'm just going to draw it out every year. I'm just going to keep borrowing against it, 1% of the portfolio. So he borrowed against 1% every single year. He's 300 properties. And therefore, he had built up a huge amount of debt against that, because the price had gone up. But the gain had gone up as well. So by the time he sold, just as I said there, 500,000 up. But that means I've got a deferred gain of capital gain tax of 125,000. So if I borrow any more than the difference of that, which is 375, if I borrow any more against the portfolio of that, then I'm going to put myself in real serious trouble if I have to exit, because I won't be able to.
Yeah, that's a really risky strategy. The 1%.
It's a risky one. But it's not that risky if you're in a really growing market. I still can't understand how the property market's still going up.
It's all very well if the market's in good condition, but
I still don't get it why the property market's still going up and up and up and up and up. And it's like this is getting to
does it make you feel uneasy that it's continuing to head in that direction?
Yeah, and I'm fantastic because it's like great, that's great.
Yeah.
I've got accumulation, but I would prefer to tuck it aside, and when something serious happens in the economy, maybe it takes a turn, then I'm in a position to jump in and actually take advantage of that situation.
Yeah, but then that's what a lot of people fall foul is when they're in the property market in such good stead, they will then think, oh, that's times of plenty, and like you say, start taking out, spending, and not holding on or reinvesting. And then when the tide turns, that's when they get
It's the same way. It's the same way investments in stocks and shares, as well. It's the same way investment in any fund. It's you have to ascertain that you want to take the risk to lose it all. Now the likelihood is what Richard Branson says all the time is like always minimize the downside. Minimize the downside when you go into anything. Make sure you can minimize it as much as possible. Understand where the downside is, and if you're okay with that downside, then go for it. And that downside is different for everyone, depending on their attitude to risk. So you can then transfer funds possibly from an equities fund to possibly bonds, to keep, because it's stable. It's like government approved bonds, and it only pays a certain amount of money, but it maybe doesn't give you the potential what equities will give you. We discussed it in a previous show about how the S&P 500, how the NASDAQ, and how the FTSE 100 is performed, and each one. I mean, there's Nvidia now got a $5 trillion valuation. The first company in history to do that.
Yeah.
Who saw that coming? Because I would have thought Intel first, and I was looking at Intel this morning and thinking, why is Intel no increased? But Nvidia sneakily is actually taking an investment in Intel. Why have they done that?
I was just going to say, so what does that tell you then?
Intel's value is really low. It's never really going up. But Nvidia's not daft, because Nvidia realizes that potentially they might need more capacity in terms of what they're doing. So if they've got a brother, they've invested in a sister company, they've got maybe 20%, I think it's 20% holdings, then it allows them to then make money out of subcontracting work into Intel.
Yeah, but for anybody, Intel's computer processors and things.
Yeah. So I mean, me for the chip market, I would have thought it would have been Intel would have been the favorite, but Nvidia seems to have been the more prominent one, which took off like a rocket.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gone up astronomical. I mean, it was 1 trillion its valuation about a year ago, and now it's 5 in a year. That's mental stuff.
That's quite a lot, yeah. And that's where it shows the importance of, having the knowledge, or having people who you could refer to get the knowledge on where to actually invest, and not just in property, like you're saying. It could be in stocks, it could be in things that are going to increase in value and also produce an income generating asset as such, that's going to produce an income like property, that's going to have good rental income and produce cash flow and not just capital appreciation.
Yeah, and these are the sort of things you want to look out for, I suppose, in terms of where it is. I think so anyway. So and again, as I said, it all depends on your appetite to how you think it should be at that point in time, in terms of your appetite. I'm looking up Nvidia now, actually, because I want to share it. Yeah, I want to share it. I want people to see where that is.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about it, and it is obviously prominent. So there's Nvidia.
Yep.
If you've got that there, then Nvidia Corporation. So £2.03 is I think it is that, or is it $203? I'm not really sure. $204. Here we go.
US dollars, it says.
So over a year, it's gone up 46%.
Okay.
Over 5 years, it's gone up 1,528%. Oh my God. See that? See there, look there, right there. This is where it all started.
So what year is that? Is that
gone up 4 times. Just January 24.
24, yeah. See that.
Yeah. So it's gone up. It's gone up about, oh God, it's astronomical. It's gone up anyway. It's gone up from $59 or $50 in December 2023. So just turning to 24, $55, and it's now $204.
That's a big jump.
Yeah. So, but that's AI. It's done that. But look at Intel. So look at Intel as well, where that's favoured. So Intel share price. Look at them over 5 years. -7.
I'm surprised with that as well for Intel, because you'd think, God, a big company like Intel.
What happened to Intel? Industry standard. Intel inside every computer.
Yeah.
Now it's Nvidia, because they were making graphics cards, the GeForce graphics card alongside Intel. So Nvidia's obviously aspired to do more because of the AI chips. So this is where all the frenzy's from. Whether that's a bubble or no, I don't know. I've got a funny feeling it is.
No,
I still don't buy into this, about all this thing about how AI is going to revolutionize
the world.
everything.
Yeah.
No, it's no. It's like the paperless office. It's just going to be like that. This paperless office does not exist. We still have mountains and mountains of paper.
Yep. I mean, our office went through that. I mean, we went from, there's just the filing cabinets to completely, I mean, we have the cloud and everything, but we've still got the filing cabinets and we need them. We use them.
Yeah.
Always.
So I think it's going to be something along that lines, but there's a big frenzy of people running into the market, and it's supply and demand, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this is the opportunity where to diversify, portfolio rebalancing, and it is also an opportunity for leverage, as you talked about. Because if you've got stocks in Nvidia, for example, and they've gone up within that short space of time by that huge percent, if you've held them on for 5 years, you could potentially borrow against them and put it down as collateral, because they're a blue chip stock, really. And at this point in time, nobody thinks it's going to go down. However, you have to prepare yourself. If it all goes pear-shaped, then you're in a difficult position, because your margin call will be straight in there, because you've lent against, maybe your stock's worth 200,000, and then it tumbles overnight and it's worth 50 grand. They're going to come to you for the 150 grand.
Yeah.
So that's key, I would say. So you have to just be aware of that. Again, it's all about reputation. It's all about why it matters, how to grow it, and all the rest of it. And that is another way to do it. If you stock picking, for me, isn't a great thing. It's like just invest in an index fund. That's all That's all I do. I'm no interested. I've done my early day stuff with Investors Chronicle and stock picking what they recommended. And I dabbled with. I was prepared to lose the money. Yeah, and I lost because I just couldn't sit still. The traders were making more money out of trading the shares for me because and the commission that they were getting because that's what it's all designed to do. That's all they're making. They're just making the commission every time you trade. So every time you're trading, it's probably like what people say using a credit card. They're taking a small fee off every single time on that money. So therefore, that money is depleting in value every single time because you're doing loads and loads of trades, and you can't sit. You can't sit and wait, and you don't learn to be bored. Yeah, you got to learn to be bored.
Yeah, you got to learn. Yeah, and that is a lot. A lot of people do get that. Like you say, they can't, like how you were feeling. They can't sit still and want to continually do something new and something different, and do a bit of everything at once.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It's like I'm still like that too. It's like I'll continue to look at my bank accounts and stuff. It's like it's not going to change. It's like, Jim, for God's sake, just leave it alone. Don't touch. Honestly, don't touch. Just leave it. Let it grow. Let it accumulate. Let it build up. Focus on the things that are important. But that doesn't take all my time up. Congratulations. It's not meant to take all your time.
You've got more time. Yeah.
You wanted freedom. That was the whole point. It's like, so stop making things up to take up your time.
Yeah, I mean, we'll come back to property, for example, but obviously stocks and things as well. When you think about these income-generating assets and picking the right one that's going to give you, like for a property, for instance, it's going to give you that rental income. Like you say, back in the early days, you were, at least if you were clearing 250 after mortgage and things, and letting that compound up, and that could then really give you more buying power to then continually. But you need to be patient with it.
It does, yeah. And that's why I used to do, that's why I did that big spreadsheet I told you about in the very beginning and wrote it all down on paper about how I could have 40,000 properties within a period of time. It was either 40, 10,000. It doesn't make any difference. It's neither here nor there. But it was an astronomical amount. So much so when I told Scottish Homes, who was the government's provider for housing, what I was going to do in the next 20 years, they were just like, they sat there flabbergasted and thought, "Are you for real?" It's like, really?
Who is this guy? It's just walked in.
Who is this idiot sitting in front of me? They even had the nerve to sit me so the sun was shining in my face. Because remember, they're social housing providers, and I was a private landlord.
Yeah.
And it's like I was asking them how I could maybe work on getting funding on build to rent. See, build to rent was available years ago. Build to rent. Somebody local actually did it, built to rent way before, and then they did away with it for the private sector, and they just focused on the social sector for built to rent. But they used to do it in the early days for private landlords, built to rent, and actually give them a contribution towards it to charge low rents, and that was fine. So yeah, you're talking about investing in income generating assets. Income generating assets. It's not gold. It's not silver. It is definitely not crypto. These things don't generate income from them. They could appreciate or depreciate in value, depending on what the flow of the.
But they're not producing a cash flow income.
Depending on what the way the wind blows at this point in time, and I mean the economy and stuff like that. But they don't actually produce anything like what dividends produces from stocks. You sometimes get stocks that you could pick are just capital appreciation stocks. They're not stocks with a company that pays out a dividend. So you have to check the company's track record. If you are going to do that and look into it, you have to check if they constantly pay out dividends, interest as well, or rental income. Royalties. That's an income generating asset. You write a book, you promote the book. Every time you sell the book and every time somebody buys the book, you've written the book. You don't need to write it again. All you're doing is promoting every single time. And every time somebody buys it, you get a royalty out of it. That's an income generating asset.
That's like what it's like what pop stars do with their music and people do with and film stars do with their films. Yeah.
Influencers streaming online. No, that's all these different things. They get paid for ads. They're selling stuff online. So, I mean, they're putting a bit of effort into it, but if they get the formula right and it's not dependent on them, they could possibly do that all the time. I mean, if you just record one session where you're promoting some air fryer or something like that, and it's the best air fryer in the market, you could just keep rerunning that constant advert all the time. And it's doing all that work for you and heavy lifting.
Every time somebody picks up on it and thinks, oh, I'm going to buy that.
And you're away doing something else. well, that's earning you money.
Yeah.
So that's what income generating stuff is. Passive income streams. Now, this is a word that is overused.
Yeah.
Yes, passive. There is passive income streams there, but do you really have to? Do you really get away with doing nothing? I don't think so. I mean, how I've got it is really a bit almost passive, I would say. I don't get involved in anything other than buying another property. That's it.
You've set up a team and people to do that. The things that,
and then everybody else does that, and everybody gets rewarded and paid for that, and then I get what's generated out of it as well at the end, and the appreciation and value it goes over time. So yes, passive income stream, I do kind of have that, so that's another one of doing it. Passive income, suppose, is interest that you make out of your money you put in the bank. Dividends, yeah, kind of, because you put your money in. If you're going to put it in an index fund, then it's dividends. You'll probably get the index fund every single year, and that's kind of passive income as well. But it's also what you've got here is the financial discipline and the timing.
Yeah.
I can't help keep telling this story, how when Trump put tariffs in place, I think it was mid-2025 or thereabouts. Early 2025, Oh, I'm going to do all these tariffs with his board and everything like that. The stock market went boom, right down to 7,700. And I went, buy. And I put a huge chunk of money in at that time. And then within a month, and then I said online, everybody, buying opportunities. Everybody go, you're nuts. This is crazy. It's going to crash. The market's all over the place. And within a month, it had recovered back to where it was 8,200. Now it's sitting at 9,500 within less than a year.
Yeah.
So 9,500, when you think about it, divided by 950 minus 770, 180, 24%. That's all right. 24% return within a short period of time, which is annualized when you think about it, because it was 6 months that was in. So that's annualized really to an annual return of potentially almost 50% if it kept going. But if you cash out there and then, in 6 months, you're making that amount of money.
And that was all down to your knowledge of thinking about where to invest and time to invest. Yeah, time to invest. Yeah.
Every single time something tanks like that, just the FTSE 100 or the Nasdaq or anything like that, and if it's glaringly obvious, it's only because somebody's giving them a jitters, like a Trump thing, like an invasion of a country. It'll all be over soon anyway, and it'll stabilize and it'll all go back up again. And that's what you've got. So if you're in it, it's the financial discipline, the timing, and all the rest of it, and avoiding the emotional investing thing, the swings and roundabouts. Oh my God, it's gone down. Maybe we should sell. Maybe we should know. Maybe we should. Listen, if it's in a fund, it's very unlikely to stay down all the time. And if you look at the track record of these funds, depending on what fund it is, by the way, about 90% of funds don't perform that well. So if it's in an index fund, then more than likely it'll perform well. Always. It's always, if you look at the indexes, you'll see it's so it's your timing based on indexes, because things like the FTSE maybe has gone up 70% in the last 5 years. But if you invested in the FTSE every time it dropped, you're making more than 70%.
If you do it at the right time,
because you're making more than the 70% in the last 5 years, because you made it in well, mind you, that is 70% in the last 5 years. But if you put in the timing at the right points, and where it's like, oh, it drops again in that 5 years, it drops again by there, drops again by there, drops again. So the 70% is an average. Whereas if you buy on the lower points and all these different things, then your return's going to be a lot more. Because when you think about the logic, the graph on the average will be there, but if you're buying at the bottom every single one, your graph will be lower than it, and it'll still go up to the same point. So your return will probably be higher.
Yeah, you're following the same trend.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that, and it's having that probably that point of readiness as well. It's like you're ready for an opportunity to appear. You're waiting for it to appear. You're keeping an eye on things, and you're ready to take action when it happens. I think that's the most important point. Make sure you've got the buying power as well. Planning for these there's always cycles in the market. There's cycles in the property market. I mean, the property market can't continue to keep going up and up and up and up and up and up. And I now see signs with the economy turning in the UK that potentially the property market might take a wee bit of a correction, if that makes sense. I wouldn't say panic stations, because the correction with the property market going up so much in the last 5 years, and most people stay in the property over 5 years, then the correction really won't affect them.
Yeah, because
unless they've borrowed against it within that 5 years and leveraged themselves too high.
But if they're just in place and not changed, that full circle will happen during that period.
So negative equity will not be a thing, and then all the property prices will equalise to the same sort of level anyway. So if they go and sell and buy, they're not losing any money because they're buying it at the cheaper price as well, because it's their own home. It's only when you invest in property that potentially you are losing a gain that you could have had if you had exited earlier. And I've been so lucky to do it just before the credit crunch, and got out, and the properties that I had dropped to about quarter of the value after the credit crunch. And then just before COVID, and then I started buying just within COVID. Because then I realized it's like, what have you done? So I got a huge upswing up there just before then, and then I went, what are you doing? Selling off again. And I went on a buying spree again. And I managed to get them at all good value. So when COVID hit and it started to boom up from there and still going now, then I got a huge upswing on that as well.
And that was all about timing as well, and having the knowledge
if you understand and you're ready, and you have the tenacity, and you have, as I said, the discipline, but the fear isn't there anymore, because you know what's going on. You know what's going on. You know what's happening, and you've played the downside, and it's okay. What's the worst that could happen? Oh, the property value drops, but you're earning money with the tenant every single month anyway.
You've got the cash flow. It doesn't matter.
So what does it matter? Because the property price will recover over the next 20 years anyway. So you'll be better off in the next 20 years, but you'll have actually got all the income out of it in that time being as well. Oh, I never thought of it like that. That's why I says to everybody, why are you selling? Anyway, what's our key takeaways out of this, Richard?
I think for me, which I think is a really good thing, we did come round a bit of a circle there, because the first thing you say is, and when it comes to having good buying power, it's built on your reputation and your knowledge and building on that. And we come right back to that here. But I mean, buying power is a measure of, the capital, and how it's a tool to for strategic and, making an advantage on your investing. But it can be created through cash accumulation, like we spoke about, using leverage, smart strategic leverage. You could rebalance your portfolio. I mean, we explored that, but why would you need to if you'd made the right choices in the beginning? And making those wise income generating investment choices. And that comes down to, that discipline, looking at the risk and managing that and planning ahead. They're all crucial parts of ensuring that you could really increase your buying power. And that then translates into a really profitable investment in any aspect, whether that's stocks, whether it's property, and like you say, whether it was, you're investing and having dividends coming back through. I mean, it applies to them all. But having a good buying power is something that you can generate yourself through your reputation and your knowledge of whatever sector you're investing in.
I'll be honest, just to finish off here, for most people, if you've made it this far, congratulations, because most people won't get this far. This sounds like an equivalent of watching paint dry. Does that make sense? Because it does sound really boring, does it?
But boring pays well.
So, boring pays well. Boring pays well for everybody. Extremely boring pays well. Because it's like, if you've got the formula and it works, why the hell would you want to tinker with it? That's my advice to people. It's like, if it works, you can maybe make small improvements, but don't go to universal changes. Don't change everything just overnight for the sake of it, because you're bored.
I think anybody tuning in that's followed us through for the last hour, if you're investing, and whether that's in property or whatever, if you are in the right mindset, you'll pick up on the things that we're saying and think, that makes sense. I could incorporate that and make some tweaks and changes to your strategy. And hopefully that will make you more successful in your investment journey.
So congratulations, you're in the 5% group because you've got this far.
Yeah, definitely.
Because only 5% of the people will actually do this.
Right, okay. Thanks for that, Jim, and thanks again, obviously, for all your insights. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We will do reruns. Jump in the comments and ask me any questions. I'll come back to you. We'll be back next Monday, 12:30 as usual, and we'll see you then.
Bye for now. Bye.